Hello everybody, welcome to my trivia channel here in sunny and warm Yorktown, Virginia. Yeah, it was a rough January here. And that's not clickbait. You can solve Wordle in 3 steps, and not every time, of course. It's a little trickier than that, but maybe once a week you can get it in 3 steps, and I'm doing it quite often in 4. I've only missed 1 Wordle now here. And unfortunately, my streak keeps getting erased because I clear my browser, and evidently when you clear your browser, it erases everything. So, but if I don't, my Chromebook starts running too slowly. But I'm going to go through this now. I know a lot of you are watching these Wordle YouTube videos, and I've watched a lot of them too, and they're good. But a lot of them are like, I've got this fancy algorithm, and it goes through all these steps, or I use these same sets of words for the first 4 guesses, and these are really clever, and I think that's good for like if you want to keep your streak going. But a lot of you want to do it like in 1, 2, 3 guesses, and you've got to go with a different strategy. You got to use the old noodle here, and logic it out. And I'm going to show you this system, and if you just bear with my bad jokes, you're going to go through this, and you're going to see this really does work. Okay, so your first step that you want to do. Now a lot of you already know this. Oh, by the way, John Hamilton, freelance writer here in Yorktown, Virginia. My articles and humorous history quizzes have appeared in a couple of local newspapers. Newspapers, what are those? Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. Your first step, you want to pick your word. This is really important. Go with every time pretty much arose or wrote, and wrote is R-O-A-T-E, and I'm assuming that's the pronunciation. It's a legitimate word. It's a stockbroker's word. It has to do with income tax dividends or something like that. But I guess it could be row-ate or row-it, but I can't find the pronunciation anywhere on line, but it is a legitimate word. So arose or wrote, and if you notice, those 2 words are anagrams of one another except for the S and the T. So if you feel like going with the S, the T, and I'll get to why you probably want to pick wrote more often than the T. So I did do arise today just for a change. Instead of arose, I did arise, and it worked out. Spoiler alert, I'm about to give away today's Wordle. It's Thursday, February 10th, 2022. So if you don't want to, if you haven't done it yet, pause the video. Or if you're watching from the future, because some of you will eventually watch to go through the archives. Somebody's archived the videos. But this is the Thursday, November 10th, 2022. So, arose or wrote, a lot of you probably know this. So, today I did arise, A-R-I-S-E. And it came out, S and E were right. They came up green. So S and E were in their correct spots. And the A came up yellow. So the A was in the puzzle, but wasn't in that first spot. So, but this is where most people, I think, are making the big mistake, is they're going, oh, let's just do another quick guess and do another quick guess. Now you've already done 3 guesses. No. Stop. You want to do a little pause here. And you want to really think this over, because between that first guess and the second guess is where you really, really can get a lot better at this game. Okay, now what I'm going to tell you right now is you need to write this down or type it into your Gmail. Itaoan Sherdluke. Okay, Itaoan Sherdluke. That's not gibberish. It's not a new Keith Richards song. Itaoan Sherdluke, the girl who once had me down. Okay. Anyway, Itaoan Sherdluke is E-T-A-O-I-N, 6 letters, and then S-H-R-D-L-U-C, 7 letters. What is that? That's the first 13 letters of the alphabet, the first half, 26 letters, in frequency order. Okay, so let me repeat it. Itaoan Sherdluke, E-T-A-O-I-N. This is everything. This is everything to solving these Wordles. S-H-R-D-L-U-C, okay? So write that down and memorize it, because you're going to use it. I've used this for years with a game called Hangman with my late mom and late dad. It was the precursor to Wheel of Fortune. You would guess, we were Air Force. I was an Air Force kid. You would try to guess the word, and you only had so many guesses. You want to use that letter frequency. In other words, E is the most common letter in the alphabet. T is the second most common. A is the third most common. O is the fourth most common. I is the 5th most common, N is the 6th most common, and so forth. C is the 13th most common. And if you'll notice in that list, you need to note a few things here. This is really important. N is the 6th most common letter. M is not in the top 13. Okay, so M is not in the top 13. Remember that when you're guessing. Y is a vowel. Sometimes Y is a vowel. It's not in the top 13. Kind of a surprise, isn't it? W is not in the top 13 letters. And, you know, who, what, when, where, why, you would swear it was. It's not. And P, you know, you think the words post, pets, pots, not in the top 13. So, of course, you knew that J, X, Q, because, you know, the U is with Q, Y, Z, you knew those weren't, but B is not. So you really need to know that, because you're going to use the first 13 letters, E, T, O, and Sherlock, way more in Wordle than the other 13. Way more. Way more. So you're going to use them over and over again. And a couple other things. Note, the S is only the 7th most common letter. T is the 2nd most common letter. Really kind of surprising to me. And the vowels, E, T, A, O, I, N, 4 of the first 6 letters are vowels. And then the Y, U is the 12th most common, and then Y not in the top 13. So know all that. Review that over and over until you got it. That's the real key, because what you're going to do with your second guess is you're going to plug those letters, so to speak, in to what you've already solved with the first guess. So for today's, and here's the thing, you're thinking on that second guess, well, there's 1,000 different choices that could fit in there. It's not. There's only like a few. See, that's where you're really wrong, is you think there's all these second choices, and that's why eventually Wordle is going to have to go to 6 letters, because they're going to run out of letters. I mean, words, because it's kind of going to be the same thing after a while. People are going to get so good at this after a while, and after you watch this video, you're going to be doing it in the 3rd or 4th guess pretty regularly. So what I did today, I guessed arise, and so I had A somewhere there, the S, E, and the N. So now I got to go. I knew the A was either the 2nd or the 3rd letter. Okay, so I started looking at it, and I said, well, now what you do is you want to go, well, it's a 5-letter word. Is there a second vowel? That's the next question you want to ask. You say, don't make your second guess yet. And you go, well, a lot of words are 5-letter words. There are 2 vowels. Okay, now there isn't always, but a lot of times there is. So, but we already know. We already had the E is out of the way. The O wasn't in the puzzle, and the A is in the puzzle. So you've only got I, U, and Y left. You've only got 3 vowels to fit in there. So I started looking at the word, and I sat there and stared at it for a while, and immediately a word popped in my head, manse, M-A-N-S-E, fit. And that's in a Presbyterian church. It's the house the minister lives in. I happen to know that word because a friend of our family, she was a minister and lived in one. So I learned it years ago. I go, that's not a word. So it's manse. That's kind of a cool word. So that popped in my head, and that fit, and I said, should I take a guess real quick? And I said, no, that's not going to be the word. I'm glad I didn't. And then I looked again. I said, well, what fits in here? And I said, well, I can put the A in the 2nd or the 3rd letter. So I put the A in the 2nd visually, without, or you can click it in without hitting enter. And I said, what if I put the U there? And boom, right there I saw it. It said A-U-S-E, blank A-U-S-E. And I rushed and I said, cause. Click. Bah, I was wrong. And I said, well, there's no other word it could be. And I missed it. It could be pause. So, and that was the answer. It was pause. So I got cause and then pause. So the lesson there is I could have had it in 2. But the bottom line is I would have, if I had decided between cause and pause, I would have picked cause anyway. So I wouldn't have got it. But when you start looking on that second guess, you're going to realize that there really aren't nearly as many words as you think there are. And that's where, like I said, a lot of you are taking guesses on your 2nd and 3rd and maybe even your 4th, and then you're down to 2. And what happened, I already talked about this in another video. If you get down to 2 guesses, and there was a video, we had one recently, you had a choice between shard, like a shard of glass, sharp, or shark. Okay? And you got to pick 2 out of 3. And if you're down to 2, a lot of you lost your streaks that day. I know a lot of you did. So don't let yourself get to those last 2 with a guess. Take your time on the 2nd guess and the 3rd guess, and you're going to get it a lot more often than you think. And once you start using this ETO and Sherlock regularly, it gets easier and easier. You know, I've done it. I'm 59 years old. I've done it for many, many years, playing this and Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. You know, I've done all these games, but you don't really use it for Jeopardy. But so I'm used to it, and from playing Hangman as a kid. So I knew that letter frequency. I knew that trick. But once you start doing it regularly, it'll get easy, and you'll start to see just trying to visualize, try to see pictures in your head of the words. You know, the great memory. One of my friends, he's the 2018 Canadian national memory champion. He's my Facebook friend. He tells me how you learn through visualizing. The great memory people see it in pictures. So try to just see pictures of the words in your head, and you'll just go through. And one other really important tip is don't forget the double letters, the double E's and the double O's. They can really throw you off, because that happened to me the other day. I almost blew it. So you're not going to see double A's, double I's, double U's, or double Y's unless you're, I don't know, doing Wordle in Norway or Wordle in Wales. Okay, you're not going to see double Y. Wordle in Wales, by the way, that's my new band name, so don't let anybody else take that. But you know, look for those double O's and those double E's, because if, let's say, for example, let's say the word is bloom, B-L-O-O-M, and you type in strong, you got that second O, S-T-R-O-S-T-R-O-N. No, that's not right. That's a storm, S-T-O-R-M, 5 letters. You type in storm, you've got that first O, but you don't have the second O. See, but it could be a second O, right? But in your mind, you're not thinking about that double letter, and that can really throw you off. So I know a lot of you have lost your word streaks on that too. So keep an eye out for double E's and double O's. And as far as double consonants, another tip here, they're usually near the back end of the words, like daddy, mommy, teddy, like a teddy bear. You don't see too many double letters near the front. Double vowel, Aaron, the name, but that's not going to come up. Lloyd, double L, but you know, you're going to usually see that double D, you know, when you have that DY, you know, so keep that in mind as well with these words. So you'll start to see patterns. You know, look for patterns with these words. And these words, the answers have been really easy. Technically, there could be some really obscure words there with 5 letters, but so far they haven't gone there. So far the words have been, you know, light, you know, and things like that, and pause, and I won't give any more away because, like I said, some of you are going back and haven't done them on the archive. Okay, well, that's it. I think if you really follow this, just trust me on this. Just practice it. Take your time after that first word. Just take a deep breath. Go, I don't want to rush it. Don't, because that temptation is there to just go, oh no, it's this, and now you're down 3, 4 guesses. You don't want to do that. You want to pause after you arose or wrote and really think things through. Take a few minutes, unless you're in some sort of contest with somebody and you're trying to do it for speed, and then I think you'll do better. Okay? And I do have that other video on Wordle I put out too, and I do regular videos on urban legends, music, things like that, history. You know, Yorktown, Virginia, we got all this great history. And we'll see you for the next video. Goodbye.